So what do you get whenever an architect decides to design her own nanobrewery? Well, it may be correlation, maybe causation, I'm not sure. But in the first week that Lake Ann Brew House was open, they sold 12 barrels of beer out of their tasting room. That's 12 barrels of a tasting room. I gotta try this place. I'm JP Sloan, and this is the Beer Atlantic. Saturday morning in Reston, Virginia, a planned community in Fairfax County. At the heart of this self-contained microcosm of humanity lies the Lake Ann Plaza, a mix of townhomes, retail, and community centers, as well as a vibrant farmers market. Lake Ann's newest enterprise is the Lake Ann Brew House, a nanobrewery not even a month old yet. As I stand out in the farmers market, I keep hearing passersby discuss this new microbrewery. And at 10 a.m., it looks like they already have customers. This looks like another example of sudden success for a craft beer endeavor. What's their secret? For the answer, I went straight to the top.
I'm Melissa Romano. I'm the owner of Lake Ann Brew House. My husband is the brewmaster here, and we've been in business just a little under a month.
Now, this is a planned community. Do you live here, or did you just rent the property here?
No, we actually live here at Lake Ann, and Bob Simon designed the community of Reston to be a live, work, play community. So we determined that we were already living here and playing here, and we decided we needed to be workers here too. So we bought this building and opened our little brewery here right in our own community.
So you're literally a neighborhood beer house.
We are.
It's very European.
That's kind of the idea. Well, this Lake Ann Plaza was modeled after Portofino, Italy. When it was built in 1968, Bob Simon had traveled extensively in Europe and loved the European village concept. So that's what Lake Ann is all about. It's a little community here where you can live, work, and play, and kind of accomplish all your daily chores without ever leaving your neighborhood.
So what were you in another life before you decided to embark on this endeavor?
So I am an architect, and my husband is a cybersecurity engineer, and now we are also adding brewery owner and brewmaster to our list of trades.
Now, how did that decision occur? Go from cybersecurity and architecture to neighborhood nanobrewery?
Well, Jason's been brewing for about 22 years. He started in college, and so craft beer has always been a big part of our relationship together. We love to visit breweries, and even though there are a lot of great breweries here in Northern Virginia, there were none in Reston, and we saw that hole, and we're excited to fill it.
So I hear that your opening week was tremendous.
We had a great grand opening day. We pulled a festival permit, and we sold 3,000 pints of beer in a day and a half and sold out our entire 12-barrel stash of beer.
Tremendous.
That first weekend we were open. To the point where we had to close for a weekend to wait for the next batch to ferment. But now we've got 5 beers back on tap, and we're rolling ahead. We're going to have 6 to 12 beers on tap, hopefully at all times. We're ramping up to that right now. And we're also tapping at least 2 flavors of kombucha at all times and doing shandies with those. So that's a lot of fun too.
So the interior of this place is quite unique. It's quite modern, quite pleasing. Was that you that designed all this?
Yeah, that's me. That's my touch inside. I was really interested in letting this property sort of pay homage to its roots. So this plaza was designed in the late 1960s. It's a brutalist architecture design, and I really wanted to sort of remember the mid-century modern design style that was intended to be here.
Now, you've only been on your feet for a month or so, maybe a little less than a month now. Have you discovered any house favorites from the public yet? Any beers that are selling out quicker than the rest?
Well, it's funny. I mean, everything sold out so quickly that we weren't able to get a really good grasp on what people liked the first go around. Our Kolsch and our IPA were the first to sell on opening weekend. Popular styles, light, easy drinker, plus everybody loves an IPA. So those went fast. But what was really interesting to us was when the Kolsch, then the IPA, then the Pale Ale were gone, people started drinking the brown and the stout, and we're loving those too. So I think maybe converted a lot of light beer or yellow beer drinkers into dark beer drinkers that first weekend.
Right.
And now we're finding across the board these past 2 weekends, people have been ordering, everybody orders a flight, of course, to start with, but people have been pretty much equally, buying across the rainbow with the beer. We'll try to have a pretty good variety. We're, like I said, right now we've got 5 on tap, and we think the whole beer rainbow is represented pretty well, all the way from a Kolsch to a stout, with every color in between. So.
And talk about unique, you're offering kombucha.
Yeah. So,
I don't think I've seen that yet.
Yeah, so MTO Kombucha is brewing our kombucha for us.
Okay.
I'm a kombucha brewer at home, but not on a commercial scale. They do a great job of it, so we've got trying to keep 2 of their flavors on tap, and then we like to think that we invented the kombucha shandy. So we're mixing some of our signature brews with their kombuchas and putting together some shandies, which is pretty exciting, and they're really being well received. You can sit up,
All right, so moment of truth. I finally grabbed myself a full flight of all of the beers, including 3 of the kombucha shandies that they've made with the outsourced kombucha they mix with their own in-house brews. This is going to be a really unique experience for me. I've never had it before, so we'll see how this goes. We're going to start with the beers then. The Kolsch, an early favorite from their opening week. And we've discussed Kolsch's before at Mustang Sally. This is a very difficult beer to get correct. It requires a very clean, very clear fermentation, mastery of process. So let's see how this goes. Very light, fluffy, airy. There's a bit of a corn note on it that goes along with the barley. You get that with a little bit of the Pils malt that is used in the Kolsch. It's not so much that it's overbearing. It's not like cream corn, but it definitely gives a bit of a popcorn flavor to the beer. Strictly speaking, you shouldn't have too much of that, but in a place like this on a hot day, this can be a really refreshing beer. A little bit of an assertive bitterness, but again, for an American, there's no problem with that at all. Speaking of bitter, let's move to the IPA. A nice burnished gold color. It has a somewhat of a modest nose to it. It's not bowling me over with hops. This tastes a lot like the Loose Cannon to me, but perhaps its smaller cousin. It is more of a alpha acid rosin bitterness, less a hop flavor, less of a hop nose. It's earthy, has a lot of girth to it as well. It's definitely an East Coast style IPA. One might even say that there's a note of rye in this. I could be wrong, but it has that same kind of rye IPA quality I've come to find everywhere I go nowadays. IPA fans will like the bitterness on that, but if you like a good West Coast IPA, you're going to want more hops. Here's the Reston Red, an amber ale. Very clear. Not quite what you look for in an Irish red, but I believe this is more just of a basic amber ale brewed in an English style, if I understand correctly. I could smell and taste a little bit of diacetyl on this. Now, diacetyl is a permissible flavor in English beers in small amounts. It is something of a product of the yeast. It creates a butterscotch flavor that a lot of people find you need to have it in an English style. Technically, though, I find there's a little too much in this one. It's a bit more diacetyl than I care for, but then I'm also very sensitive to it, so your mileage may vary. Moving on to one of the early favorites as well, their Chapel Brown, an English-style brown ale. It's a nice light brown. It's definitely not a porter of any sort. I don't detect any roast on the nose, so I think we're in for a good English draft here. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's very good. Light chocolate notes. A nice toasty, bready background. A little bit of the English-style hops on the back. Lower carbonation for more quaffability. English lovers, you're going to love this beer. Now let's move on to what I was told was the standout, the stout. Definitely getting some roast in the nose. Surprisingly modest, actually. More roast notes on the nose and in the palate. A very light body as well. It's reminiscent of a porter more than a stout. Honestly, I find this a bit wanting. I would like more roast punch. I like more roast punch in that. A little more chocolate, a lot more body. But I imagine it would mix well with this kombucha. So let's move over to these shandies. We're going to start off with the Kolsch Shandy. This is mixed with a hop-infused kombucha, which is a kind of fermented tea beverage. Kind of sweet, kind of bright. Definitely comes across like a shandy. The hops that they used imparted a citrus note, which give an almost lemony note, a little bit of grapefruit. It's almost like a sour beer without the sourness. Stepping it up, this is the IPA that has been infused with an orange kombucha. And you can smell the orange already. Oh, but that is good. That is really good. Lots of orange on this. This is definitely not going to miss that. The IPA bitterness is pumping up that kombucha and the sweetness, balancing it out, making it taste like a farmhouse ale. I think sour fans would really enjoy this, but not if you really need the sourness to cut your head off. And now for the most enticing of their offerings, the stout that has been mixed with the orange-infused kombucha. Orange and chocolate notes go together great, so I'm interested to see how this works. Now that's an interesting gadget beer right there. Yeah, the chocolate notes do come across. They mix with the orange, almost like a Marnier quality. And it has a zing from the kombucha that really gives you almost a Belgian dark quality without the alcohol. All three of these shandies are low alcohol, easy drinking, would be fantastic on a hot day. I'm pretty sure you're not going to find anything like this anywhere else. So overall, this beer is above average. I think that they are only being open for a month or less. They definitely have some more dialing to do on the recipes, but come 6 months from now, a year from now, I bet you this place is going to be top notch. So, final verdict on Lake Ann Brew House. Tons, metric tons of potential here. It's a fantastic location. They are actual residents. These are their neighbors. They have excellent beer. A little room for improvement. I think I'm going to come back here at the end of summer, early fall, to see where they've gone by then, because I have the expectation, the full expectation, this place is going to turn into a major presence in Northern Virginia. Well, thanks for joining me this week on Beer Atlantic. I'll see you next week. Cheers. Level's looking good. And I got sunlight. Finally. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Looks like samplers.